Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast. Inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs, here is your host, Dr. Frances Arlene.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 551. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Arlene. Most education brands don't have a marketing problem. They have a visibility problem, and Janelle Jones solves it. She's a marketing strategist helping ed tech and learning brands stand out, grow fast, and turn attention into real revenue. Welcome, Janelle.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Frances. I'm so excited.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
What I'd like to say is that I am a marketing strategist. So what that means is that I bring visibility to your brand online. I focus on digital marketing and I specialize in educational brands. So what I found is a lot of people in the education industry, they are big hearts people. They want to help people. They want to change the world. And they create a product, but then they don't know how to give it to the world. And that's where I come in. And I tell you, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to say. And this is how you need to do it so that you can reach as many people as possible.
How did you get there? How did you become this marketing strategist for ed tech specifically? What's your backstory?
My mother is a teacher. It always starts from my mother's, right? And I was working a job at a bank and I was doing customer service, 18, 19, 20 years old. And I hated it. I was sick, literally in the hospital, sick on a medical leave. And she said, well, why don't you come and tutor? I have some kids that I can't tutor because I'm a teacher. Why don't you come and tutor my students for me? And I started tutoring and it just bloomed and grew. And I grew it to a 6-figure tutoring agency. I had tutors that worked for me and I was going all around Atlanta tutoring kids. But then I decided I wanted to have kids. And you can't tutor kids and have kids. You can't do it unless you're a saint. I can't do it. So I decided to switch my business to an online business, online virtual assistant business. But then I realized I wasn't a virtual assistant. I was actually doing marketing for the clients that I had. I wasn't just scheduling their calendars and making phone calls for them. No, I was actually making web pages and landing pages and building all kinds of things. So I went back to school, got a master's in digital marketing, and I realized, I said, where is my sweet spot? What do I want to be known as? When you start in business, you're like, I'm going to do everything for everybody. But I began to say, what do I want to be known for? Where am I passionate about? And what I'm really passionate about is education. So how do I tie these two things together? Was by focusing in on educational brands and doing marketing for them. And that's where I am now.
Talk about motherhood and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so it's a juggle, right? Because they say you can't have it all. And it's mostly about managing your expectations of what all is. Because I homeschool my kids, I run 2 businesses, and I do all of these things. And I feel like they would tell you that they're pretty happy for the most part, as much as kids can be happy. But it's just finding that balance in everything, knowing that you're not going to get 100%. You're not going to be 100% super mom, 100% CEO, 100% for yourself. You can just divide it up and just take every day as it goes.
Janelle, you talked about running 2 businesses. Tell us about both businesses.
Yeah, so the first one is the marketing company, marketing side of things. The other one is called For Kiddos. I call it the Eventbrite for kids, right? So on Eventbrite, it's really hard to find events for kids. It's mostly parties and things like that, which is great. But where do the kids go? The homeschool kids who are looking for activities, the parents are looking through Facebook groups. There's word of mouth. I wanted one place where everything was located. And so I decided to create For Kiddos.
I love it. I love it. And if someone is interested, and I know we're primarily talking about your marketing strategist, but don't want to leave out that piece For Kiddos. If someone is interested in that, how do they connect with you for even both businesses? Share that information.
Yeah, definitely. So For Kiddos is at onlyforkiddos.com, ONLY, the number 4, KIDDOS.com. You can find us there. The contact information is all there. And then on the flip side, for the Janelle Jones brand, which is the marketing side, it's janelleajones.com.
Who's your ideal client for as a marketing strategist?
Typically, ed tech brands need me, somebody who's they're like, oh, I have an idea, I have a concept, I've built it out, I have an MVP. Now, where do I find my clients? How do I engage the clients that I currently have? How do I re-engage them to constantly buy from me? How do I talk to my audience? And how do I find my spot and get my piece of the marketplace? Those are the people that are my sweet spot.
What is something we as consumers, or I should say mainly business owners,
Mhm.
what do we not know about marketing that we should know about marketing?
Do something. Do something consistently. I'm not saying you have to be everywhere doing everything, but pick one thing. If you're not good at anything else, pick one thing you can learn, do it, and do it well consistently. That's it. You'll start making waves.
Absolutely. I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. They've inspired you so much. Who is that person and what are you saying to that person, Janelle?
Oh, goodness. That's a good one, Dr. Francis. I had this conversation with a friend. She's reading a book, and the book is something about who's your who. Like, who would you look up to? Like, they have your why you do business, but who is the person that you look to? And I told her my who is Oprah. So if I was to have a monologue with Oprah, I would say, thank you. Thank you for paving the way for women that look like me to be able to do the things that you do, to make the money that you make, to have the thought process that you have, to be able to strive for the greatness that you have achieved. And I'm so glad that you have been able to do it without a whole lot of scandal at this point in your life. There has not been a whole lot of things that people can say negatively about you. So I am so grateful that you put yourself out there and went after your dreams because it allows girls like me to be able to go after mine.
Thank you for that. There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
I read the CEO's memoir. I would call it memoir autobiography of Disney last week. And I didn't know the story behind everything. And it's absolutely phenomenal, the story behind Disney. And I didn't realize all the things that they owned. So when you talk about conglomerate, I would put Disney right up there in the media as a conglomerate. They are really kicking it and killing it in the game of being able to handle so many aspects because they own ABC, they own Hulu, they own Pixar. So being able to dominate and still manage all those different brands is amazing.
And speaking of Disney, it absolutely is. And if you ever get an opportunity as a business owner, and I've done that numerous times too, they give you a backdoor look at the Disney. And what's interesting is that everyone in the organization, they must pick up. It's about cleanliness. And
Mm,
it's just phenomenal when and I'm going to read that book when you said that because I've had that and to see how clean and the smell and the experience
mm,
that Disney want you to leave with. So it's pretty phenomenal. Janelle, there are so many risks and rewards in business. Let's
mm.
first focus on the rewards. Take a snapshot of the last 30 days. What was your win?
I just got back from a 4-month trip in Bangkok. That's a reward. My children know how to speak light Thai now. They're 5 and 10.
Wow.
They think that it's normal that we lived in Bangkok for 4 months because my son needed braces. And here it's the cost of a trip to get braces. And it was $185 in Bangkok compared to $3,900 here.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. And so, on the flip side, when we talk about the risk, and I'm going to spin it under opportunity, but it's a risk, and talk about the worst moment in business and what was your takeaway?
I don't know. I think that there was a collection of events that happened. And sometimes you just have bad days. And I remember one day, I don't even remember everything that happened in the day, but I just felt like I just can't do this anymore. I just need to just go ahead and give up. I think I hadn't made money in 2 weeks, and I like to make at least a minimum amount of money every single day. And I hadn't made money in 2 weeks. So when you don't make money in 2 weeks, it really messes with your mind because you're still working. As an entrepreneur, you still have to work daily and you may not see money for a while. That day, I think my kids were acting up. They know when I'm having a bad day. I was having a horrible day and my kids were so bad that day. And I'm going to use that word bad because they were bad that day. And I was just going through it. But you just have to fight through these things, right? And know that I went to bed early that night and I was like, tomorrow I'll just start again and it's going to be a new day. I just went to sleep and I was like, you just need a nap. You need to go to bed. And the next day it was like, okay, I made a little bit of money. It wasn't a whole lot, but I made some money the next day. So it kind of broke that stagnancy that I had with the finances. Because as an entrepreneur, the whole point of us being entrepreneurs is to have control and free will of our money.
I like that. I like that. Talk about your top two influencers, mentors. What lessons did they teach you, Janelle?
I don't know that I have mentors or influencers. Somebody asked me this the other day, or the same friend that I mentioned just now. And I will say that I had a coach for a little while, and it was more, she's a heart-centered coach. And so she tells you to follow your heart. It wasn't about business coaching, it was about making sure that you were doing things that you were passionate about. And what I've learned through working with her is that if I'm doing things that I'm not passionate about them, it doesn't work. But as soon as I get clarity and and decide, because I'm a Libra, I'm very indecisive. So as soon as I decide that I want this particular thing, it manifests. It happens that quick.
Absolutely. And what was that aha moment when you knew you were going to be successful in business?
God spoke to me
Okay.
and he told me that this was young. This was like 18, 19 years old. He said I was going to be a millionaire. And I didn't understand. I was working the job at the bank at the time. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It didn't fathom to me that I could start a business and this is the way to do it. And then once I started learning and researching about entrepreneurship, I realized that I could be a millionaire. This is something that could happen. At that same time, I met a lady and I was nannying while I was at the bank and I was nannying her sons. And she was telling me her husband was a real estate broker and she had bought her first home at 21. And I said, you bought a home at 21 years old? And I was, like I said, I was 18 or 19 at the time. And so that became my goal. And I bought my first house at 23. And it was like, it was an aha moment because if I could do this, then I could become a millionaire because this person told me I could buy a house and I did it. So obviously, if God told me I could be a millionaire, then hey, I'm a millionaire.
I like that. Thank you for that. What is the takeaway that you want our audience to get from this podcast interview?
The takeaway is that the sky is the limit. Once you focus in on what exactly you're supposed to be doing, and then it's so cliche. I hate to even be saying it, but once you focus in on what you're supposed to be doing, everything kind of opens up and you will know that you're on the right path when opportunities that you didn't expect just come right in front of you and you're able to take them with ease.
Let's do a deeper dive into that because you nailed it when you said it can be so cliche.
hmm
How do you get
hmm
to that process?
So, for example, with 4 kiddos, I had that idea 5 years ago. I didn't do it. God gave me that idea too. He told me to do it, and I didn't do it. I kept not doing it. And then I got a job. No, I got a consult. I was consulting for this startup. And when I saw the back end of that startup, I was like, oh my God, I need to do mine because it was such a mess and they were making money doing it. Right. And once I decided to do 4 kiddos, literally the sky has opened up. I've received scholarships and grants. I received a scholarship in Kentucky. I live in Atlanta. I drove to Kentucky every weekend for a month to learn AI to build 4 kiddos by myself.
Awesome.
So it's been just opportunity after opportunity once I decided that I was going to do that. I decided a week and a half ago I was going to have an event for 4 kiddos. I put it on Threads. I now have a sponsor for said event.
Awesome.
It's
Awesome.
just putting it out there.
Putting it out there. I love that. And let's talk about if you lost everything and you
Mhm.
had to rebuild in 30 days, what industry and why?
If I lost everything, I would go back to tutoring.
Mm,
Knowing what I know now, to be honest with you, because the people are never going to stop having kids. So, and there's always somebody willing to spend some money. When I was started tutoring, I was making $12 an hour. When I stopped tutoring, I was making $50 an hour. I started doing some extra tutoring gigs about a year ago, and I met this lady. She charges $150 an hour for tutoring. And people are willing to pay that because they're making an investment into their children. So that's
absolutely.
if I wanted to make some quick money and I wanted to get in and just be able to make some cash, I would go into tutoring again.
Okay, that's good. I like that. If they wrote an autobiography about you, Janelle, what would be the title and why did you pick that specific title of your autobiography?
So many things come to my mind. Oh, this is a good question. Maybe I would say something like the brave one. My grandmother always tells me that I'm so brave because I'm willing to just go and do anything. She's like, you have two kids and you literally take them around the world with you. You're so brave. And being an entrepreneur, you have to be brave.
I like that. The brave one. Absolutely. How did you finance your business?
What is that? No, there's no financing the business. I just started advertising. The first business, remember, was a tutoring company. So I started advertising on Craigslist. Craigslist used to be free to be able to post ads on there. And so I would post on Craigslist when it was free, and people started hiring me outside of my mom's referrals. Then when I started the online business, that started with a referral as well. So I got two clients from a referral and they kept referring me. So there wasn't any financing my business at all. Everything has been run on a shoestring budget, even down to four kiddos. I have really worked on building up my brands, and that includes my business credit. So I was able to apply for business credit, getting credit cards and all that type of stuff. So I've been able to leverage those things. And then I'm very big on bartering. So I have bartered to get so many things built in my business. So yeah, there's no financing.
Absolutely. Tell us about your life more specifically. Talk about your journey and how did your past, the path now, intercept with your past?
When they say everything is full circle, it 100% is. If you have not got to that full circle moment, then you're still on your journey, is how I put it. Because my very first internship in high school, I was a journalist. I was a journalism major, but my mother told me that you can't make money being a writer. So I decided to become an event planner. I didn't like that. So that's when I went to the bank and got a job. Well, now I do journalism work for parents.com and Business Insider. I'm full circle back to where I first started, my very first internship.
Talk about business continuity. What is your highest risk as a business owner?
If you're still the person who is doing everything, you don't have a team, you don't have any help, then you get sick, you are the highest risk in your business. Because then business cannot continue if you're not there, if you're not working on in the business.
And something you had talked about, how do you move beyond that? Speak to those entrepreneurs because we going to step back a little. There are some entrepreneurs that are not even making $50,000 a year when you talked
Mhm.
about that climb. How do you get
Mhm.
to that point of having a team?
Several different things I would suggest. First, ask for an intern. Put it out there on social media. And right now, I would say if you're making less than $50,000, unpaid internships because you have value in what you are able to teach them. And it doesn't have to be a long period of time. It's just to get you going, to speed you up just a little bit. So get an unpaid intern. Like I said before, barter. So get somebody that you can barter. There's a virtual assistant that is looking to build their portfolio and they're willing to give you 10 hours a week to barter for that portfolio review and to be able to testimonial and a portfolio build. The next thing I would say is if you have a little money, extra money to spend, get some help overseas. So there are people that work in the Philippines, on the continent of Africa, who are willing to work for as low as I've seen $3 an hour. that you could spend $30 and get 10 hours worth of work. And as you build, you can increase their salary.
And then I know it's interesting you say that. So, where do you find those individuals? Because I remember before Fiverr and Upwork, Fiverr was under the $5, but now
Hmm.
those specific platforms, even when you look at the excess fees, it's a lot for someone trying to grow and scale.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love Upwork. That is my favorite platform to use to find freelancers. I have a friend that I met in the startup world. He built Feed Coyote. So it's Feed Coyote. And that one has a lot of freelancers. I just hired a girl, an intern off of there to be able to do some work for me. And then you can just post it on social media. I've been heavy on Threads lately, and I've seen so many people get help off of Threads. If you post something on there, or even in different Facebook groups, you are able to get some traction to be able to hire some people. It does, I will say, it does take a while to find the right person. But once you get through that process, make sure you're very clear on what you need. Create processes and procedures for the person you're bringing on. So I would be recording as I'm working throughout the day. Just record what you're doing on the computer screen. Use Loom or Zoom and record so that you can hand things off and make things easier for them. But just know that there is going to be a barrier to getting them put onboarded on with your processes.
Janelle, what drives you every day to keep going?
You know what? The other day I went to a workshop and I always used to answer this by saying my kids, right? My kids, my kids, my kids, they drive. I want to put them in private school. I want to have them travel the world. I want to do all these things. But then I realized I went to that conference, that workshop, and they said it was me, the inner Janelle, the inner little younger Janelle
Wow.
loves to be able to enjoy life. She likes to go and travel overseas. She likes to eat in Paris. She likes to eat in Thailand and be able to do those things, take the classes. I like to be able to hire a cleaning lady and have a laundry person. I like to have enjoy life, right? So in order to do that, I have to make money. In order to make money, I've got to do my business. So every day I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
I love that. I love that. What would you have done differently from starting your first company?
I just had this conversation with the same friend. It's so funny. I told her that I had a call today and I learned that this person built a business by looking at a need that was out there that had money behind it and built the business for the need that was out there. So the example I will give you is that there was funding for certain industries, and she saw what the need was for that industry and that the funding was out there. And she built in a business based on the funding that was there for the business so that there was no need for her to sell her services to anyone because they already had a problem, they had the money, she had the solution. That's what I would do differently. Where is the money? Where are they spending money right now? And how can you provide them with a solution for a need that they have the money to buy?
I like that. Talk to a younger Janelle. What advice would you give a younger you?
Keep traveling. Don't come back to America. Stay out. And I would tell you, Janelle, to keep networking. Continue to build the people that can enhance you and
Mhm.
help you to grow and do the same in return.
Out of all the places that you've traveled, where would you love to live and why?
I haven't found that place yet. I
Okay.
love all the places that I've traveled. I've enjoyed them. I went to Thailand, like I said, and I went to Bali last month, the month before, and I enjoyed it. I really did. It was a great time. Bali was amazing. I would get a house in Bali. I don't know if that would be my permanent residence, but I definitely am going to buy a house in Bali. It is just, it's beautiful. Everything that they say on the internet is true
About
about it. It's a
And
wonderful
then how
place.
do you manage, and just traveling in itself is an experience for your children. How do
Mhm.
you manage like when you travel for the 4 month extended period? Is it a consistent schedule that you're doing in terms of the homeschooling? Is it more relaxed or how do you do that?
Everything that we do in America stays the same over there. It doesn't change. So the only thing that changes is our location.
Okay.
That's it. So exactly the schedule that we have in America, we live over there. So people think that, oh, that it's a whole different lifestyle. And it is, but you're able to keep your lifestyle the same in regards to what they're learning, what they're doing, as you are in America.
And I'm not real familiar with homeschooling. I know individuals who have homeschooled. And how do you get to the next grade? Do they test out? It's a curriculum for individuals for homeschooling. How does that work?
Yeah, so every state has a different law. Our state's law, there's no curriculum or anything like that. You can decide what curriculum you want to use, and then they test every 3 years. So, like third grade, sixth grade, ninth grade, 12th grade, they test. So, every 3 years, and you decide the test that you want to use, and you just keep it as your record. So, there's nobody like monitoring you on what you do with your children. For my children, we use a lot of workbooks. We do world schooling, so they're learning from actually going and doing the activities. Lately, my son has been interested in cooking. So he's been learning his measurements by cooking in the kitchen, cooking dinner, right? And so that's a way of him homeschooling, is him learning, okay, we need a quarter of this, we need a cup of that. Let's measure it and see how many we need to use. And we use Alexa a lot too. So how many cups are in a quart, that type of thing.
Okay. If someone spent a whole day with you, Janelle, what is something that we would learn about you that we don't know?
I take a lot of naps. Something in order to do all these things, I have to rest. I highly suggest that people rest. And I am very good at managing my time, something that people don't know. I use block scheduling on my calendar. So every hour is blocked out of what I'm going to do. And I kind of, if I finish work early, that's when I'm doing my resting time. But I even have a block for my resting time as well.
That's awesome. Talk about your most memorable moment in life or business.
I wrote a book about business credit, and I was giving it to people and telling people about it, but I wasn't actually implementing it. So when COVID happened, I started implementing the book on my own, on my business. And by the time we got out of COVID, I bought a car with my business credit. I didn't provide them with any statements of income. I didn't provide them with my social security number. I just went out to the lot and was like, here's my LLC information. They pulled whatever they needed to pull up, and I drove off with the car.
I love it. And what is the name of the book?
Approved. The book is called Approved
And where can they get it?
on Amazon.
Talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
That's a fine line, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, have burnt out from doing all the things that they have done. That's why I started implementing my rest policies for myself. And also eating habits, because I have to pencil in my lunch because I'll work through lunch and it just won't happen. So I highly suggest people get a therapist because entrepreneurship is not easy. So definitely a therapist, a coach, scheduling your lunches, scheduling your exercise in, all of those things are should be penciled in your calendar. It's mandatory.
And I agree. I like how you are really being very intentional about the rest piece and
Mm,
also the physical piece about exercising, eating. All of that is so important, especially for entrepreneurs. And when we think about our brain and we
mhm,
think about one of the things they're seeing is because the lack of rest and because of not eating healthy or nutrition, managing your nutrition and working out, people are just we're seeing an uptick in Alzheimer's or dementia. So that is so important that we do focus on that rest, and you're stipulating that in terms of business.
yeah, I realized the other day, so it hit me the other day when my brain was not working, and I was like, what is wrong with my brain? And I hadn't had water all day. Well, your brain uses water to be able to work. And so if I hadn't had water, my brain was dried out. And so I drank some water and it was amazing.
Yeah, dehydration is
Yeah.
water is so key.
Hmm.
Let's talk about that milestone that you would like to accomplish for your businesses by the end of this year, 2026. We don't want to go out too far. Let's
Hmm.
talk about what is that milestone?
For the marketing business, I'm writing another book and I'm working on creating a system and a framework around that book, pulling the frameworks out of that book and creating a signature offer. I would like to be done with that whole process by the end of the year. It would be amazing if I could get that done. So that's a big milestone for me is to have that whole process created so that people can start, using the framework and the systems.
Okay. And what is it that you need that you don't have? This is the ask that would move the needle forward for you, for your business.
I have a lot of content. I have traveled all over, I have videos and pictures, professional ones done. And I would love somebody to be able to just manage all of my content, tell me to know when to post it all over the social medias, what to post, and me not have to manage that at all and think about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is something that you have not done that you desire to do in your life?
I've been working on hobbies because I work a lot. And so I have a new hobby of knitting a blanket right now and braiding hair, learning how to braid better. And so the thing that I want to do now is learn how to sing. I can't sing worth anything, but I would like to learn how to sing, at least something.
Let's talk about legacy, Janelle. When it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
My goal is to revolutionize education, to show people that it's not necessary to have book and paper and pens and writing all this stuff. The writing is important, I'm not saying that, but learning all of these different things. Sometimes you have to live life and learn from life. And I feel like that's the way that children need to learn these days is actually to experience the world and experience life, even if they just go outside and experience the day to day of what's outside their schools.
How do you define success today? And has that definition changed over time?
Success today, right now, in this very moment, is making it through the day, honestly, because of all the things that are going on in the world. Just being able to get through a day is wonderful. Whereas before, it was like, if I make that $1 million, I'll be successful. Well, right now, that really doesn't matter. It's like, okay, as long as I am making it through the day and I've been a positive person, I do the right thing by people, it's been a successful day.
And what personal value drives your decision making as an entrepreneur?
I believe in a genuine connection. I feel like a lot of people are ingenuine. So if there is a genuine connection and I can help you and you can help me, then that's something that we can grow up of. But a lot of people don't have that ability. There's more of a take mentality. And so I prefer a genuine connection. Like right now, we're having a genuine conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What's a belief you had early in your journey that you now know was completely wrong or that it could change?
I thought I knew everything as a young person. Right? I thought I knew everything so many times, so many mistakes, my goodness. And so now I don't know anything. I probably don't know a middle school of anything, right? But I know what I know. That's it. That's literally all I know. Is what I know.
hmm How do you handle fear of failure or imposter syndrome when it shows up?
I take a beat. So I take a step back. And then I've been using AI for this. It's been a phenomenal. I don't know if anybody else has tried this, but once you start telling things to AI and then you say, "Can you remind me of who I am?" AI will tell you all the amazing things that you've done. And it's like, oh, this is great. And talk so nicely to you. So I've been using AI for that.
Yes, and then you share that little bit, and I do have a question on that, so we'll just grab it. Speaking of artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
how else do you use it in your business?
Oh, I use it in every aspect I possibly can. It's amazing. I think that AI is a way. There's a book, Malcolm Gladwell. He talks about outliers, being able to take hold of an aspect of a point in time that you're in and riding it. Like, what's his name? Bill Gates, I think it was, or Steve Jobs. I don't remember which one it was, but they got a hold of computers before everybody else. And that's why they were able to be where they are. They were sneaking into, I think it was MIT, to be able to use the computers. And that's why they were able to build all the stuff that they were able to build. So right now, I feel like AI is that avenue for me. And I'm using it and pushing every part of my business that I can through AI so that I can get the push that I need to get to the level that I need to get to, the momentum.
What's a common strategy or rule you've broken in your industry, and why did it work for you?
I feel like people in marketing say that you have to do all the things, right? And for me, I can't do all the things. I had just, like I said before, I just pick one thing, go with it, build it up, and go from there. I'm really great at building community, having conversations with people, and kind of going from there. And so that's what I've based my business off of, is that community building, that connection with people, and seeing where it goes. And most of my business has come from word of mouth, from people referring me to other people. Like, this is the person you need to hire. It's because I've built that community with people. I don't necessarily need to use the social media avenues.
Janelle, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I'd like you to ask the question and answer it.
Oh, that's a good one. The question that I would ask is, is there a way for people to be able to use your concepts, your thought processes, and to use it on their own businesses? That's the question that I would have asked. And I would say yes. That's what I'm working on building out for everybody, is a way that, because people are like, how do you do all the things that you do? That's the question. How do you do all those things? And that's what I'm working on building out, is for people to be able to know the systems and processes and the way my brain thinks on how I do all the things that I do.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called a rapid round of fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you
Okay.
ready for the rapid round of fun?
Yes, I'm ready.
Your first job,
At the bank.
the last movie you saw,
Mario Brothers 2.
you relaxed doing what?
Reading.
Your favorite singer or rapper,
I like R&B music, so anybody that sings like 90s, 2000s R&B, I'm all for it.
your favorite dance song,
Party in the USA, Miley Cyrus.
your favorite comfort food,
Ice cream.
what food you eat every week, no matter what,
I think I have some sort of cheese every week. I like high quality cheese.
and your favorite month.
September, my birthday.
Janelle Jones, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Feel free to leave all your social media handles and to share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you. And feel free to leave your book again, the name of your book, for them to pick it up on Amazon.
Thank you so much. You can find me on all social media platforms under Janelle J Speaks. So Janelle, J as in Jack, Speaks, Speaks. So that's my handle on all platforms. The book is on Amazon. It's called Approved. There is actually quite a few books that I've written there, so you can check all those books out. And if you want to find me, I'm at Janelle, Janellea Jones, Jones.com.
Thank you, Janelle. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.